Going to spend another week on the Cubist project that we started last week. I think some people got into it, some people quite enjoyed having a go. One thing that I realised was that it's probably a good idea to set it up on a board like this, and that way it's a lot easier to just turn it all around when you get some different viewpoints. So the idea was really to try and see if we could make head or tail of this kind of work that Picasso and Braque were doing about 100 years ago. So the idea really, I think, is looking at the world from multiple viewpoints. So rather than just having one viewpoint, like traditional Renaissance perspective that was invented sort of 500 years ago, perhaps a way of representing the world that isn't just using Renaissance perspective. So it could be, this would be one idea to draw from different viewpoints. So that's where we started last week, and this was the exercise that I came up with that I'd originally taken out of a drawing book many years ago, and pretty popular, particularly with the morning group, and then we'll just have a go at this again. So the idea here is that we set up a still life, and you have something quite tall in the middle, and you would just draw that once, so that's the basic idea. And then you can then draw a couple of objects in, and then maybe move it around, I don't know, 90, 100 degrees, how many degrees you want to. And then using that as your reference, you could then draw some other objects on the top. So this still life is actually different to the one I started this morning, that's my demo this morning. But the bottle's still the same, so I can still use that as my reference. And then I can see here I've got this nice vase here, which go in there. And sometimes it's quite nice to have a variety of shapes. So I brought the scissors in. If anybody wants to do any colour-wise, we've got some colour-wise materials here. I thought, well, actually, that also adds another bit of interest, another bit of variety, sort of visual variety. So it's a really nice exercise to get you kind of composing with shapes and proportions and thinking, what would be a nice balance of shapes, what would be a nice contrast of textures and contrast of shapes and forms. So pop that one in there. Actually, not very realistic, this. The scissors, pop those in. It's really quite stylised, this. So they're going in there. And perhaps a little bit. The other thing I brought in was a scarf, because I thought it's quite nice to, and that's a little bit of a different angle to what I had this morning. So let's bring that in through there. And then I think I'm packing up that, so let's try and get that so I can get the shell in here. So that's where the bottle is. The shell's going to be somewhere about here. And it doesn't matter too much if I decide to move something around. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever makes a strong image here that counts. One thing I didn't mention last week is make sure that you draw a reasonable size. You don't want a tiny little still life in the middle, otherwise it won't have much impact. So if you can get it to stretch to the borders, you'll get a stronger design, stronger image. I'm afraid I'm doing what Nick criticised before, just standing in front of the camera. I think that's the difficulty. Look at the still life over your shoulder. So that's the idea, and then it could then go into maybe you could use some collage, or you could use some paint, or some sort of colour or tone. I wouldn't suggest too many different colours and tones. So with this one, I've just added some greens, and it might be nice to sort of have greens in a few areas, and then maybe some other, perhaps two or three colours would do it. Otherwise, it will start to sort of disintegrate. You'll just end up with a pattern or something that looks a little bit random. So to get a sense of sort of like repeated rhythms and shapes and repeated colours, so that's really the idea with the colour. You could leave some areas white if you wanted some really bright tones. But yeah, the basic idea is to come up with something that looks visually strong, visually appealing. So that's, I'll bring this So I've got all these, you've got to help yourself along with this. I've got a couple of boards at the end there if you want to set up another still life. I've also got some slightly smaller ones, which I actually thought we could collage onto, but they also make quite good backdrops for little still lives. So that's those. The other thing I will mention is that, so we're here next week, and then the week after I'm having a week off, so I won't be here that last week of May. I was thinking next week we could carry on with these or any other projects you want to work up. But the other thing I thought I'd talk about next week or do a little demo on is working outdoors. So if we've got some nice weather, we can maybe just go out there and I'll do a little demo. And if anybody wanted to work outdoors, they could work sort of around this area. I'm planning to run a couple of outdoor sessions, and the first one I've planned for is this coming Monday, and that is going to be in Hullbridge. So I think I put an email out there, so if you're interested in taking part in that, I've got a list here. If you are interested, if you could just pop your name and your phone number, just in case there's any kind of late, if we get a thunderstorm or something, or it starts hailing or something, and I've got to change it or cancel it. It'd be good to be able to get in touch with you. Obviously, I've got most of your emails, but I don't have any other contact details anymore because they all went somewhere. I don't know where. A while back. But yeah, if anybody's interested in Hullbridge on Monday, I'm also planning a couple of other trips. Hopefully, Malton towards the end of June or mid-June, and Hadley Country Park. I thought might be quite nice. I'm planning that early June, although I may change the date that I've got for that one. But if you are interested, these two should be confirmed. So I need say at least half a dozen people interested, and then I'll run them. The Hullbridge one I've already got half a dozen people, so that will go ahead, weather permitting. But if you are interested, just add on to that. Also, if you've got any suggestions, if there's anywhere you think would be a good place to go, location-wise, do let me know. If these didn't go ahead, it could be that we go somewhere else, or I'll have another one. Battlesbridge might be nice. Yeah. Yeah. That would be. Sorry. Belfast. Yeah, I think Belfast would be good. Belfast is easy park, toilets, and things like that. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, Battlesbridge it's probably all right. It's a little bit. I think Belfast feels easier somehow. Like there's definitely toilets and there's easy parking there.
There's nothing.
Battlesbridge might be nice. We have done Battlesbridge once or twice. It's a little bit more spread out. Might be possible. Yeah.
Hullbridge is nice.
Hullbridge. Well, yeah. I went to Hullbridge on. We went at the weekend and it was really lovely and it was really peaceful. It was a nice bright summer's day. There's quite a lot of benches you could sit on. There was also little trees, so if it's really hot and blistering hot, we can sit in a bit of shade. There's a free car park.
You can go through the smugglers and walk further up.
That's it.
A country park and there's 2 or 3 benches.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how we went, and it was really nicely done. Got like a little nature bit. Little tiny pond, plus views of the boats and the river. So it's really nice. There's a free car park, there's a free toilet, so it's kind of the essentials that you need. So that will be Monday, if anybody fancies join. I'm thinking to start at 10:30 and go on to about 1. So I'll do maybe a 20-minute, half an hour demo, and then you've got plenty of time to draw and paint. And it's really just bring along anything that you want to work with, whether it's sketching stuff, painting stuff, whatever. I think as long as you don't make it too heavy for yourselves, that's the only thing. But other than that, bring a little stool if you want, if you've got something like that. Otherwise, there are quite a few benches around there. So, for those of you interested, that would be Monday. Any questions on anything? Yep.
With what you've done, you've got tons and colours.
Yeah.
You've left the other bits all left the job. So
Yeah, I mean, you could keep going. You could, maybe.
would you break the lot?
I probably would leave. I might leave some white bits, but I'd just keep going until I felt like I got enough. The other thing is you could do something in the background. You could have some sort of background in.
Yeah.
So you just got to decide when you think it's enough. Sometimes leaving some of the whites is quite nice though.
Yeah, I know.
Strong design.
To build up that sort of character.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. You just got to play it by ear. Do what feels good.
I normally use the end.